Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unaired, the show where we take TV shows canceled with episodes left unaired, review them, and then pitch our ideas for how we think they could have continued. I'm Ed, and with me today from Crit Chat, we have Ismay.
Hello there.
How you doing today?
To be honest with you, I've been very sick all day. So either I'm going to be ridiculously sleepy and weird in this episode, or my brain's going to do bad and it's going to go real crazy like. So we'll see. We'll see what we get.
Well, you know whose brain does go crazy bad is zombies.
Ooh, honestly, kind of a good comparison though. Ooh, okay.
So we watched the pilot for Babylon Fields. So this show was actually produced in 2007 for CBS. They passed on it.
For why?
I don't know. It was actually pretty good.
Right. I was wondering if I was going to bring a crazy opinion to the table saying that I actually kind of enjoyed the show. It had some kind of major flaws, but in general it was pretty solid.
Yeah, I could understand if they sent it back to retool it, but they just went, no, we don't want it.
Yeah, right.
And then NBC tried to resurrect it, pun intended, in 2013, and it still hasn't gone anywhere.
Oh, really? Oh, shit. I was kind of assuming that, I don't know, because I'm also going to say this not knowing anything about the show. But everything, iZombie is a popular TV show that I think has the same kind of plot to it. I'm saying this knowing absolutely nothing. So iZombie could actually not be a single thing about zombies and I wouldn't have a goddamn clue. But,
Well, coincidentally, I did actually watch an episode of iZombie before I watched this.
Oh, shit.
And you are right. It is actually about a dog groomer. I'm just kidding. It does have to do with zombies.
I was going in for this fiction. I watch iZombie. I'd probably be more likely to watch it if it's about a dog groomer. Hopefully that is also a zombie.
Yep, her name is Zombie. No, I'm just kidding. So this show actually had some pretty major stars in it. Had Ray Stevenson.
My favorite, Kathy Baker. I love Kathy Baker. I feel like Kathy Baker is such a mom thing for me to like. Because I feel like that, Kathy Baker is everyone's mom's favorite. Oh, she's in everything. She just never got her big break, you know? I love her.
Also had Amber Tamblyn, which I thought was pretty cool.
Right, wait, who's Amber Tamblyn again?
She was the daughter.
She was the daughter. Okay, see, she was not great in it. I don't know what it was about her in this. She had such a weird kind of disconnect with everything. But I don't know how much of that was the actress and how much of it was just them giving her baffling lines and how to deliver them. It's sometime near the very beginning when they're doing their whole, everything's really normal. It's a normal world we're living in. And the mom's just talking about general life. And she comes along and she's debating just cereals just under her breath. And I don't know, it was just a very odd, this is what a teenager is kind of scenario.
Yeah, it didn't feel realistic. It just felt very kind of out there.
Right. And in a show that is otherwise based in realism, it was very out of place, you know?
Oh, do you guys not have people digging their ways out of their graves?
I mean, we do, but it's more of we have to get them back in, or they're here to tell us prophecies. Scon's all about the prophecies.
Oh, okay. See, at least you still got it over there then.
Oh, yeah. The zombie uprising that happened a couple of years ago. Yeah, you can't escape it these days.
So, this show starts off kind of showing normal life in this town, which is called Babylon. I don't know if I mentioned the name of the show is Babylon Fields.
I didn't read it. Whatever.
Oops.
We just got into it. Look, it's a good show.
It takes place in a town called Babylon. And it starts off, like you said, with kind of showing normal life, but it's very disjointed.
So disjointed.
Yeah, the only thing that we see of a zombie is this guy digging his way out of a grave in the opening credit Not really credits, it's just the title card.
Yeah, it just starts off with it starts off. I thought when it immediately started, I thought it was going to be a straight up horror show, because it had that like fast paced editing, just like cuts and like that heavy rasping breathing. Your favorite trope of the hand bursting out of a grave. But then then I don't know what genre the show falls into after that, but it ain't horror.
No, not even close. It's on Wikipedia. It says comedy drama.
Okay. I mean, I laughed at it, but I don't know if it was intentional.
No, not for the reasons you would want.
No.
So, yeah, we get that weird serial scene. We get a cop named Carl, and he's hitting on another cop named Louisa.
And again, just a baffling. It's supposed to be like a secret relationship, I think, because they're like, oh, stop it, people will see. But they're just like in the middle of a workroom, and there are several other people around, baby. That's like, it's not super secret, baby.
Oh, no, not at all. They're going at each other. Someone's like reaching for the coffee creamer through them, like...
Yeah, it was like I was very happy that it turned out to be a relationship, because I thought that we were setting this guy up just to be like a creepy turd. And I was like, okay, that's fine. It's fine as long as you're both in on this cool behavior at work.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that got that vibe, because it seemed like it was setting him up to be like cheating on his wife or something.
Exactly. Oh, I have a thing about wives and stuff later, but we'll get there. Oof.
Oh, yeah. So then we get, in between all these scenes, we get zombie dude making his way downtown. He's not walking fast.
No.
And faces do not pass.
Do not pass, but he is homebound.
He is homebound. And Janine and his mom, and that's the daughter's name, is Janine, and her mom are driving down the street, and they have another little conversation, and then it cuts away.
Yep. I feel like it's not abundantly clear that all of these scenes happen, I think, like a minute each, if that. A minute is very generous. These are like little micro shots that are so small and disjointed, and it's very It's very disorienting.
Yeah, because then immediately after that, it cuts back to the police station.
Yep.
And Carl gets a call from his sister, Martha. And she's like, you gotta come over. You won't believe this shit.
Like, some shit's going down, baby.
And then we cut back to Janine and her mom. They get home. They walk inside. They see a zombie just chilling on the couch drinking a beer.
See, that's where the comedy comes in. Like...
And he says, am I the luckiest son of a bitch you ever seen, or what? They freak out, understandably.
Yeah.
She drops the groceries, and he goes, hey, clean that up.
Yeah, again, not funny. Definitely indicative of an abusive relationship, but just in the context.
Yep, and that is the first hint we get that this dude is a douche-a-rooney, and he's an abuser.
Yep. He also is doing the like you get a lot of like nice visual clues. He's got his own little lounge chair. He's got his beer that he finishes off even though it's already finished.
Yeah. And that brings up the question of, can zombies like drink and eat normal foods and stuff?
Oh Lord, thank you. Cause, like, do you mind if I take this next, like, tie fast forward? Because, like, it's, after this, there's a lot of people, like, oh, rising from the dead, and you see a bunch of people rising. But a couple of times you see, like, them wanting food, and that's a whole thing. I have a lot of questions, and I would love it if this show was continued, just because I need them answered so bad.
I'm with you on that one. So then we get to Carl, who shows up at his sister's house, and who answers the door, but his dead brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
And he's freaking out like, this isn't real. He's not alive. That can't be him. And she's like, no, it's real. He snuck up behind me and like grabbed me, and I was like, that's him.
I was like, hot. Yeah, I'm back on board. Let me jump this. Fuck yeah.
And this comes back later in the episode, but these two don't get freaky.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, and there's a lot of problems with that. The questions.
So yeah, how Carl figures out like, okay, yeah, it's real is like a stereotypical type thing, like where you see twins on a rooftop, you got to shoot one of them. Which one's real? Tell me something you know about me. And he tells him, "Oh, I was your best man. Remember?
Remember when I was your best man at your wedding?"
All I can think of is Walking Dead with that accent.
God, this is like. If there was a crossover between Walking Dead and this, I would love that a lot. Like, if Walking Dead was Walking Dead, but all the zombies were very sentient, but people were like, nope, fuck this anyway.
Coral, get away from that one.
Get away. He's like, it's Mom. Well.
She's got snacks.
Oh, Christ.
So, the dead guy, his name, I believe, is Dick, which we find out later in the episode. He's actually a neighbor of Janine, their mom, and Ernie, who we find out later is the dad. And we get a fun little scene with them in a little bit. But he goes, Carl, Rebecca's probably back. You need to go check the cemetery. And we find out, oh no, his wife's been dead.
The third one! The third goddamn motherfucker in this that has their significant other dead as disco. Like, every main character in this goddamn show has a spouse that died.
Well, what they didn't mention is that the town was originally Widow's Peak.
Stupid. Terrible joke. God damn it. That was awful.
So Carl, he goes on to the cemetery, and then we get this like weird George Romero-esque scene of all these zombies walking around. One of them, we get the stereotypical grabbing his leg from the grave, and they're all just chill. I mean,
yeah, right. Like I do like that kind. Like you don't see the guy as he crawls out of the grave. I don't remember that anyway. But I would enjoy the turnaround of like, you know, instead of grab, it's trying to bite me, just grab and then try to get away. And the guy just pops up the ground. It's like, hey, what the fuck, man? Give us a hand. What are you talking about? Like
he's just yelling, just help!
I'm stuck under the ground. They got my legs.
Get a shovel.
Just like dig with your little hands. I don't even care. I'm not that precious. It's fine. Don't worry.
I picture this is like a waitress with a cigarette still. She was buried with a cigarette.
Oh, yeah. Like she couldn't find her way out, but she could find a light.
Oh, of course. So this is when Janine and her mom are driving, and they're like, we should just go to my boyfriend's house. She goes, well, that's a stupid idea. But then she sees all these zombies like, actually, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go.
Yeah.
And my favorite part of this episode, she sees a zombie walking by and goes, excuse me, and waves at it. And we get back to the dad, Dick. No, wait, the dad's Ernie. He is a dick, though.
He is a dick. There you
go. He's showering, and like all this gross decayed skin falls off. And he pulls a police badge out of a box.
Again, in what turns into an unintentionally hilarious scene, where he's like a child that gets one of those little fake police badges from a cereal box. It's like, hey, and like thrusting it forward like it's a Pokeball. He's like, yeah, I'm a policeman.
He looks like he's a Power Ranger trying to form a Megazord.
Oh, he does. Oh, that was it.
So, the two go to the boyfriend's house, and they see, like, gunshots coming out from the second floor. The dad pokes a gun through the mail slot and is like, what the fuck's going on out here? She's like, oh, it's Janine. Oh, I don't give a fuck.
He's like, what? What's like the safe word or something? Like, they've got like a code phrase already. They're like 3 seconds into this code phrase, baby. Like,
I like the theory that they have this code phrase, but none of them have left the house yet.
None of them have left the house. And also, they're just like looking at these people who don't have, like, because all of the zombies are kind of ashen skin. They've got dirt all over them. Their eyes are like whited out. These guys are dead ass. They're like dead ass human ass bitches. And they're like, nah, could be anyone. Fuck you.
And I don't know why this is, but every woman was buried in a wedding dress.
Everyone. Or like they were just like Victorian era. It was so
right.
strange.
And then some teenager comes up and recognizes Janine. She's like, Janine?
I forgot about this guy.
She's like, what the fuck? He pulls like worms out of his pocket. He's like, I went home, but my mom and dad weren't there anymore.
He He's just trying to have a nice, normal conversation. He's like, all right, you're okay with the whole zombie things already, right? Right, cool. Where's Moda?
And then he gets blasted away. The boyfriend's just like, Dad, just let him in. So they go inside while they play target practice. And turns out headshots do not work because a zombie just gets up.
I did like that. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was fun for me. I very much enjoy any zombie scenario where they're very cognizant of zombie films. Being like you either have your normal tropes or you have something there like, no, zombie films exist in this world. We know what zombies are. We know how to do. Oh, we don't? Oh, shit. Oh, beans.
Right. It's like in The Walking Dead where there's like, all they're walkers. It's like, no, they're fucking zombies.
They're zombies.
You're telling me George Romero doesn't exist? Like,
anything in like any zombie things where they don't reference previous zombie films takes me so completely out of it. Because I'm like, so you're positing that this is an alternative reality that they've never even conceived of the idea of zombies before.
Right.
It's buck wild.
In these billions of years, nobody's been like, you know what? What if they just like crawled on up out?
Yeah, what if we do like some cool horror tropes though? Like, it's baffling to nope. I get too far into this.
It happened in caveman times, and then one of them just hit the other in the head. And that was it.
It was like, no, none of your bullshit here, Janine. Like, we're done with your shit. I just pulled Janine. I'm bad at picking names. So I just pick ones that are in actually the thing that we're talking about.
So then Carl sees his wife's grave, and there's a hole there. Surprise! She dug her way out.
Dead spouses.
So then we cut back, and turns out Janine and her mom have been lying to everybody in town because she goes, my father's back. Oh, back from Daytona?
It's fucking hilarious.
Yep. Oh. So they lied and said he met a stripper in Daytona and was just like, fuck it.
Whatevs. Like, no one gave a shit. I mean, to be fair, if there was some asshole that I kind of suspected was an abusive little piece of shit, and someone's like, I went to Daytona, my brain would be going, you murdered him, and my mouth would be going, that's great.
Yep. And to be fair, it would be believable. The Carl brings this up later in the episode. It's not unbelievable. There's definitely something within the realm of possibility that this douche guy is just like, hey, you know what? I met a stripper in Florida.
Yeah. It sounds like a good day.
So then Louisa calls Carl all freaked out, says, okay, go into lockdown, I'll go to the armory. And throughout this whole show, it's just weird cuts because we cut back and forth between the Janine storyline and the Carl storyline. And so we get some like little scene of like the parents preparing for the zombie apocalypse, like making like a bazooka out of PVC pipe.
Yeah, they had a bazooka. It was one of those blink and I nearly missed it kind of things where I just like, I glanced away, I glanced back, there was a kid with a bazooka, I fell in love all over again with the show.
And then we get a reference to a zombie movie because the boyfriend's brother is just like, well, you know what the Bible says, when hell's full, the dead will walk the earth. No, you idiot, that's from a movie. No, that's from the poster of a movie.
Oh, you know what? I take it back. Maybe it was intended to be a comedy. Fuck it.
And then we get a zombie being thrown out of a church and like beaten up.
Oh, that was the best. So that had the best line of the whole thing, because you get like it's also this is the moment where everyone goes like 0 to 100 because like we say that before, yeah, when they were kind of escaping from the back from the deadbeat husband. That they were kind of freaked out, but it was kind of a subtle freaked out. Everyone so far has been only kind of a meh amount of freaked out by zombies, and then 0 to 100, everyone in this church is armed. Like they were barricaded. They formed a lynch mob for this. I think it was like a homeless dude that used to go to their church. And Copman McGee, whose name I forget every single time. Dick? Is it Dick? No,
it's Carl. But I do like Copman McGee.
Copman McGee, it's easier. Is like, hey, stop beating up on this guy. We don't really know what's going on, and they're still wanting to murder him. And then as this zombie is like wandering away, he turns around and is like, I thought they might have a donut or something. the ground and was like, right, I know that I need two things. I need church and I need a donut. No one's stopping me for this.
And this was another moment that kind of started taking me out of it, is because this is when Ray Stevenson's accent, his American accent, started to fade.
Right. Oh, yeah. He just goes real British for a little bit.
Oh, yeah. And then he shows up at the armory. There's a hose just going all willy-nilly. It's just spraying everywhere. And no one's there except for one guy named Matty. And he's just like, we need to mobilize your men. What men? Look around you.
Look around. Like, okay. Oh, fucking hell. This guy was like the only one so far who'd seemed to be like properly freaked out by just the concept of zombies. Not like, oh no, my spouse is back from the dead, or people might find out that I murdered my husband. He's like freaked out because the dead are walking the earth. I like this guy.
He's like cuddling with a gun, just chilling in the corner.
Right? Me and this boy have a lot in common, because I would also just be sitting in the corner, kind of crying, like, well, we might be fucked. Okay.
So he tells him, by the way, I saw your wife Rebecca kind of walking towards your house, so maybe go check on her. Then we come back to Dick and Ernie, and they kind of meet up in the cul-de-sac, and they're talking to each other.
It was so well crafted, because I don't know if you see it a lot in media things. You do sometimes, but it just had the real visceral energy of those two guys that are friends because their wives are friends, but they have nothing to say to each other. Despite the fact that both of them just came back from the dead, they're like, hey, good weather, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was weird, too, because this is where you find out that Ernie, he remembers how he died. He had cancer.
Yeah.
Dick doesn't remember how he died, but he knows he has, like, a gash in the back of his head.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like, oh, well, how's the family? Oh, there's still pains in the ass, just older. Oh, I get it. Martha still sleepwalks naked.
Oh, my God.
And he goes, she's treating you right, huh? And then we get the weirdest line.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Like a newlywed at an oyster fest.
I have also written that down in my notes. Because, and then, like, the neighbor gets, like, the exact same reaction as I would. Like, that acting was very on point. Like, I like to believe that they didn't tell him about that line, and it was just his real reaction, which was horror and just like a heaping helping of disgust.
It's bad when a zombie show, that's the most terrifying thing that happens.
It's the worst. Oh, God.
And then it gets even weirder because he says, by the way, you been horny lately?
Like, hey, you ready to go? Hey, are you just... Like, I like that this show was like, look, episode 1, we have to get this out now. Zombies are back, and they want to fuck. Zombies... like... This is very important to our storyline that zombies want to fuck.
I can imagine the pitch meeting right now. There's just a bunch of there's a dartboard and they're just throwing stuff at it like zombie
what
fuckers. Okay, hold on, wait.
Okay,
there's something there.
Something here. Or like those like sex dice that you get that is like rub face on floor like.
They rolled rub dick on zombie. Where did we get these dice?
I mean, sure.
They accidentally mixed up their Halloween dice with their sex dice. So then Carl goes home. Some kids with a crowbar are just like, we saw a zombie in there. We'll beat her up for you. He's like, get the fuck out of here. And he peers in, but he doesn't go in. And Luis is just like, get the fuck back here. Some shit's going down. And he leaves. Ernie's walking downtown, and it looks like it's post-apocalyptic. There's only zombies in the street. You got, like, newspapers blowing everywhere.
This was part of there were, like, 3 parts in the show where I think that there were breaks because there's just a dramatic tonal shift. Like, the first was when the cops kind of meet back up, And they've got this kind of like rock music playing, like your buddy cop, like, yeah, we're gonna get this done, baby. And that just comes out of nowhere and fades away just as quickly as it came. It gets to the comedy Dead Neighbors bit, I think, happened after a break, because it just like rolls in with like some like music, and again 3 seconds later it's gone. And this one, they just put some punk music like they're in a goddamn music video. It's so strange.
It felt like they took 3 shows and threw them in a blender.
Yeah, they have no idea what they're doing, but I was really into it at the same time.
So he goes to a bar. It's locked, so he just breaks the window and goes in.
As you do.
The bartender comes out with a gun and goes, "Wait a minute, I know you. You were a cop." Yeah, they said I left for Daytona. What do you think, I'm gonna eat you? Ah! And he scares a guy who stumbles back and shoots himself.
Uh-huh.
And then we get this little tinge of like, oh, maybe he does want to eat people, because he sees the blood and he like licks his lips.
But that's it. Like, so, and again, like, I like that. I really like that as like a moment of maybe this is actually what the show is going to be. Like, it's got like a lot of promise of future questions that could be answered, which I would be really interested in knowing, but it was not to be. This made me very sad.
So then we get a radio broadcast explaining, yeah, the dead people are back and headshots do not work. Carl goes back to the precinct. Louise is there. She's chilling with a shotgun, scared. And she's like, "You saw Rebecca, didn't you?" "Well, yeah, she's my wife." "Well, she was your wife." I can see some tension.
I can see some very obvious and poorly done tension. Like, I like that the idea, like, this happens, well, this is going to be a baffling thing that I'm about to say right now, but this happens often. That shows make a lot of, like, get ready for Ismay's feminism classes 101. They make women so irrational, like so incomprehensibly irrational. That I know this is just a small moment, but it's her being like, oh, like, the zombie apocalypse is upon us. The dead are walking again. It's not reasonable for me to think for a second, maybe he's having conflicting feelings about his wife. He should still be 100% in this weird thing we got going on. Like, it's so strange that they went to, like, having to make, like, obviously it's going to be a point of contention later on. Like, obviously it's going to do that. But the idea that this woman was just like, no. The most important thing right now is that this guy knows that we are still in a relationship, despite the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, it was like a whole, like, you know, the dead are coming up from their graves, but are you still my boyfriend?
Are you still my boyfriend, though? Like, do you still like me, YN? Right back.
Slides him a little note.
Oh, my God.
So then he falls asleep in the station, has a dream where Rebecca shows up, kisses him, and then bites his lip, and then he wakes up.
So maybe he's prophetic. It might just be that he knows zombie films, but he's also got like a little hint of like, ooh, maybe they want to eat us. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or maybe they want donuts.
They do want donuts.
They want donuts and human flesh.
So then we find out, oh no, the phones and the servers are down. Ooh.
Ooh, spooky.
Which kind of gets contradicted later on. But
like immediately.
Yeah. So he goes, oh, we got to get this place operational. We cut to Ernie going to his grave. He finds a blade, which turns out to be the head of an axe. Janine goes to the grave, starts digging around looking for it. Then we cut back to Ernie at the police station. And, surprise, Ernie and Carl have been partners.
Oh.
And this is where we get the dun-it, so I need you to solve a murder. Whose? Mine. It's almost like a CSI, like, yeah!
It was the most set up anything could have been. Like, I love it. I love, again, it's that irrationality of this guy's, this cop who is a cop, and I would assume I'm gonna be kind to him and be like, good at his job, question mark? It's just like, oh, this guy who has died is walking in, is like, oh, I just rose from the grave, but I've got a case for you. What could it be, darling? Who could Ooh.
Yeah, so then we get Doreen, who it turns out was Janine's little sister who died. And she walks into the house and she's like, "Hello? Is anybody here? I'm hungry." And then she just goes over the TV and there's a news report on saying, "Yeah, so in this town Babylon, shit's fucked. There's zombies and shit." And yeah, and then she just flips the channel to cartoons.
Which is great.
And that's the last shot of this show.
It was great. I have a lot of questions.
All right, so we're going to take a quick little break. We'll be right back, and we will answer some of those questions.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Micah.
Remember watching the Friends premiere?
No, I never saw that.
Oh, but remember those first Wu-Tang solo albums that came out?
No, I don't.
Remember that terrible Frasier theme song?
Oh my god. Remember I was sent away from home when I was 16, sent to like the middle of nowhere, Montana, therapeutic boarding school. None of this rings a bell?
Oh, yeah.
Join us for I Never Saw That, a podcast about mid-90s pop culture and Montana.
What about ER? You saw that, though, right?
No!
All right, so had this show continued, what kind of episodes do you think we would have seen?
Okay. So I think that there is quite a lot that they could have done with it, especially because they set up a lot of questions that I really wanted answered, and I still kind of want to answer. So, like, maybe I'll just, I don't know, call up the people who wrote the show and be like, "Look, I know that no one else wanted this, but I want this. I care. What was the plan? Because I need to know now." Because there was just a lot of things about, like, why all these people that popped out of the grave, they were all kind of whole again. Like, they weren't decomposed. And it wasn't even a case of they hadn't had time to decompose. Like, I was wondering, like, maybe it's just like the fresh ones and the older ones who are all like rotted away, they didn't have enough, I don't know, like spark of life in them to bring them back. But no, there's a report on the radio that's like, "Oh, I saw some like Native Americans running around, like dead ass, like they're real Native Americans and from like Pilgrim times." So people from Pilgrim times have like reformed, I guess, and popped out of the ground, which is a thing. Just a question of like if they need to eat or drink, what they need to eat or drink. Just general questions. Also, they don't seem to feel pain. Like, they can't die again, and they don't seem to feel pain because no one is like, "Oh, I got shot." They just get shot and they're like, "Oh, I'm back now." But they can feel pleasure because, as we stated before, they love to fuck. So
Yeah.
what the differences are there? I just wanted all the questions answered.
So you brought up an interesting point about like the whole Pilgrim people showing back up. I would love to see a scene in an episode where they're trying to explain to a pilgrim what the fuck a TV is. Like, well, you see, it's pictures, but they're moving. Hold on, start again. What the fuck is a picture? It's a weird, because also you have to deal, also this is my brain being like, this is probably not what the show was wanting to be about. But what about overpopulation though? Like, especially if they need to eat and drink. Like, what are you going to do about all the extra bodies lying around? Like, we've already got a homelessness problem. It's not going to get any better. We could just send them to, like, I don't know, Alaska or something. They can probably deal with the cold.
Yeah, right? Like, they don't need, like, good... See, but then there could be more interesting things about, like, what rights do zombies have? That could be, like, a fun episode. Well, not really a fun episode. It would more be, like, bureaucracy. But I think bureaucracy is fun, so...
I just imagine you pushed up glasses while you went,
how did you guess?
So there's another thing I think they should have explored in an episode, which would have been like, what if Martha done got knocked up with a zombie baby?
Oh my god, I didn't know that I wanted that until you said it. Oh god, that's all I can think about now.
And even if it was like a human baby at first, if it died and was stillborn, would it come back to life?
Would it come back to life? Yeah, well, that was another one of the questions that I wanted to, because, yeah, the guy in the store, like, after douchebag McGillicuddy shoots him, spooks him, so the guy shoots himself, because he's an idiot, he's just dead, it looks like. So either there's like a refractory period where he has to die for a certain amount of time to come alive, or maybe there was just that one moment where something happened in this town and boom, all the dead people that are currently dead are alive and no one in the future. Or maybe there was a future episode where that guy came back. He was like, you spooked me so bad I done shot myself. God damn. Who knows?
Yeah, that is true because the living don't come back.
No, it doesn't seem like it anyway. Or at least not immediately.
Right. Maybe later on we
Yeah.
could see something like that. Like maybe Martha, she got fucked into a zombie. Like all of a sudden, like one day, like her like finger falls off and she's like, well, that's not good.
That's not ideal is the thing.
I feel like this would have worked as kind of like an anthology type series.
Yeah. Yeah, if it was just like kind of like snapshots of things. Yeah.
Like even if it was just like following all the storylines set up in the pilot, but like each episode is a different storyline.
Yeah. Like, yeah, if it did that, it would be a lot more... Because the worst thing about the first episode was just how disjointed it was. And it was trying to do so many different things, which I appreciate in a kind of general way, but it also made it very confused of what this show actually wanted to do. But yeah, if it, like, I would genuinely love it if it just like had little storylines and every so often maybe they crossed over. Like maybe in kind of like an Orange is the New Black kind of way where the episode is focused on one group and you get maybe like one or two things from the other groups at some random point in the episode, but it's kind of concentrated on one group or one person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like maybe we get like one episode where it's like zombie detectives and it's like, we're solving crimes, but the only murder I can't solve is my own.
Again, referencing a thing that I've not seen, but Bright did that of like zombie person buddy cop team up. But I like the idea because I am assuming that the idea of that is both of them are kind of like likable, fun characters, whereas in this one it would have been cop boy and abusive dad that have just like, let's get the gang together one last time. And they're both just, well, one of them is just a kind of blank slate nothing man and the other is just an abusive shithole. So it would be fun for no one, but I'd like that.
Yeah, and then we could get like maybe the Janine and her mom, they're just like researching zombies, trying to figure out how the fuck they can kill them so they can get rid of the dad again.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't even mention like one of the bits in the episode that I absolutely adored was just after they had gone into their the daughter's like boyfriend's place. And my baby Kathy Baker, I'm back on the bake train. Choo choo, babies. Because it's when they're discussing how maybe the daughter will come back to life, as well. She just has a very like it's just like a two shot, but it's mostly on Kathy Baker, just her being like, no, you do not talk to me about this. You do not say this to me. You have no idea. I watched my daughter rot. I watched my daughter go cold. I buried her. Do not do this to me. And it genuinely sent me like in a little bit of a shiver fest. It was so well done. Though it does bring up another question of I don't know what the kid, like I don't know what happened to that kid. And I need to know what happened to the kid because she does say I watched her rot, which you don't typically do if a kid just dies. Or, like, if anyone dies. I don't think I've had a single person that's died in my life that I've sat around and watched them decompose a little bit, you know?
Oh, you didn't spring for the live stream package at the funeral?
I know, like, look, it was just a bit expensive, what with, like, the airfare and, like, the destination funeral. It, you know, it all just adds up.
See, we did my grandma, where when anybody donates on Twitch, they have her arms rigged up so that she just waves her arms in the casket.
Oh, I should have just got social media involved. That's always where I fail.
So, I'm sure you're aware of everybody's favorite actor, Wallace Shawn.
From Princess Bride, most known for.
Oh,
yes. Everyone, I just love him more than anything.
Segment we do on this show is why in the world isn't Wallace Shawn on this show? Well, he's been through Hollywood, from The Princess Bride to Clueless. He's an actor and a playwright and an essayist as well. He is nowhere to be found, so it's time for us to do this. Tell me why in the world isn't Wallace Shawn on this show? How would you throw Wallace Shawn into this show?
Okay. Oh, no, this is a thinker. Okay. I mean, okay, is it cheating to... I don't know why this would be cheating, but is it cheating to say that he would be kind of like a zombie politician?
That's the exact same direction I was going to go into.
Yes! Like, he's there, like, for the rights of zombies. Like, everyone's like, oh, shoot the zombies. Like, oh, we have to drive these pests out of our house. Just, Wally Shawn!
He's just an activist.
You. It's like, we've got rights, too!
He has, like, some campaign speech where he's just like, not giving zombies rights? Inconceivable. They make little buttons of it.
Wait. No. Is this Wallace Shawn is playing a character, or this is Wallace Shawn playing Wallace Shawn if he had died and came back as a zombie and was like currying favor with people like, I'm a famous actor that said funny things in this other movie.
I think it's all part of a press tour for his latest film. And he's just stopping to get the zombie demographic.
Oh, that would be so good. He's not even a zombie. He's just like, no, I'm just here to campaign for their rights.
Or maybe he's trying to method act as a zombie in a new film.
Oh yeah, he needs to like walk among the... That would be great if like everyone else is trying to deal with all of this like drama and hatred and like trying to work out a murder and trying to like get away from like a horrible relationship that you finally got free from. And Walsh, I was like, look, I need to get my acting chops.
Just walks up to zombies. So do you eat people?
What does it feel like to be you?
Oh man.
I mean, honestly, it would make... I thought it was endlessly watchable anyway, but this would make it even more watchable somehow.
I think we need to get CBS on the line.
Don't worry. Hey, CBS? They want me to stop calling them. They're done with my shit.
That's okay. I'll try later.
Okay, thank you. I'll give you some of my contacts. You give me some of yours. We'll like trade off. Some of them won't be sick of me. Whatever.
Exactly. You get NBC. I get CBS.
Oh yeah. You know what? Fuck it. Let's get Netflix on board. They're here for anything right now. They'll do whatever.
I mean, iZombie is really popular on Netflix, so maybe they want a slice of the pie.
And like iZombie's in its last season, I think. Right? Again, I don't really know shit, but I think it's ending now. So You know what? We got a lot of new zombie content for you. They have a lot of actors that are used to working zombie things. So like, come on, just like, don't need to expand that portfolio. What about just a one-note portfolio for you, baby?
You can just reuse the same sets and everything.
Yeah. Like, no bother. Like, they had like a solid like 3 sets in the show, and iZombie, I'm assuming, had a budget, and so had a lot more than Babylon Fields had.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Just un pequeño, whatever.
So, the biggest question, how do you think this show would have ended? / how do you think they're going to explain the way these zombies came back?
Because there's so many ways it could go. I think that, because you've got the kind of question of if it's gonna be a show that's trying to make the zombies part of society again, which I feel like it was going in that direction rather than kill all zombies, then it genuinely could end in legislation about how many rights zombies have and giving zombies the right to vote. Like, it seemed to be wanting to make it into a very like slice of life thing. Like, it didn't, apart from people initially mobbing the zombies, or mobbing one and shooting a couple others because they were spooked. It seemed to be very much putting the zombies in like they're just people back from the dead. Like, there was just that kid who had worms in his pocket that wanted to find his parents. Like it was trying to make them a little bit relatable and there, and people didn't really seem to want them to leave. So I was gonna assume that it was gonna have like a big back and forth. Like, as I said, it had like a lot of hints of maybe they do hunger for human flesh. Who knows? And like trying to suppress that and seeing if there is other things that could satiate that hunger. And then I like the idea of that becoming kind of a non-issue and people being like, oh, there are other ways that they can eat, that they can like sustain their life without having to kill people, and that's what a lot of them do. And it gets to the last episode where like it's like a 1 year later, and some guy's like, and so the law comes to pass that zombies have equal rights to living human bitches, and smacks a little gavel. And then you've got your friend Cop Face at the back who's like, yeah, wow, we really did it. And then gets like a call on his little walkie-talkie. He's like, what's that? There's a crime downtown? Well, are you ready to roll, partner? And it pans over and it's his like zombie cop buddies like they're going, I'm ready to roll. I mean, I'm not happy because that means the abusive asshole is still there, but still, he's like, ready to roll. And then they hop in a car and just head on out to solve some crimes.
I would love it ended that way, on a cliffhanger, where they get there and they go, wait a minute, there's ghosts?
Oh my god, then yeah, smash cut to black, credits roll, it's got some like, highway to hell. Oh, no, that would be the best ending to any show. You're correct. Well done. You've been doing this a while, haven't you?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit, yeah. Oh, that's so good.
So I think that's gonna do that for Babylon Fields. So Ismay, if people want to find you and your show, how would they go about doing so?
Well, if you want to find me in general, I'm down as a Teacup Gamer, like everywhere, like on Twitch, on Twitter, on Instagram, all those things. It is the letter A, the word teacup, the word gamer, all smushed into one. But if you want to listen to my shows, I've got two of them. One is a D&D advice podcast / comedy podcast. I added in the comedy podcast because I realized there was a couple episodes we just don't give advice and we just fuck around about D&D. So you know what? I had to add that in, and now people can't tell me that I'm wrong because they are either funny or informative, sometimes both. So yeah, that's called Crit Chat. It's wherever you can find podcasts. I've also got another one called Half Damage. It is a D&D actual play podcast where we're playing Curse of Strahd, but I don't want to use ideas from a book, so I'm kind of using it from the Wizards of the Coast adventure, The Curse of Strahd, but I've added my own reality show twist to it. So it's one of the most rewarding things that I do. It is really, it's really fucking funny. I know that I'm on the show, so I probably shouldn't say that we're hilarious, but we're hilarious, goddammit. It's very funny, it's very dramatic, it's fully voice acted, fully musicked, and I've had reports that people have cried because of the emotional turns, so I'm very proud of that. So that's Half Damage and Crit Chat, wherever you can find them.
And I would definitely second Crit Chat. I was listening to that on my way home from work.
I do recommend it, but I also do not.
I think you guys have some really good chemistry on that show.
Good. Do I dare ask what one you were listening to?
I was listening to the integrating backstory into...
Oh, okay. See, that one actually had some actual advice on it, which was good.
It did.
It also had, a lot of other not advice on it, but whatever.
So definitely check those shows out. If you want to follow us on social media, we're at Unaired Podcast on pretty much everything. Thanks for listening, and just remember, some things are better left unaired. Bye.